unmute Mr. Van Rook himself. Hello?
Yo, what's up?
Yo, yo, yo. We are back in it to win it. Did you get Q?
I got the cue.
Alright, man.
I got some food.
I called my ISP, man, and I yelled at him. Did real
you
good.
actually?
Yeah. To all of you guys.
Business class.
This is business class, baby. So we just actually made an upgrade to our business class internet, and we still got an outage. Coincidentally, at the same time of night that we always got outages with residential, and they wanted to tell me it was mere an outage. They said it wasn't that you're not being prioritized now. It's just an outage. Psh, messed up, man. Well, coincidentally, after I made that quick phone call and yelled at some people, our internet is super good again. So here we go. We're gonna jump into the finals, guys. It's Splyce versus Cloud9. And Cloud9 running that RMD once again. Splyce is FLS here to stay. Sap goes out on the ab surge. It looks like Dota might be the kill target. Everyone's targeting him for now, but that's just because Walter Bear is in stealth. And there's the opener from Rosty's full kidney shot going out into Dota as ab surge is put into a half polymorph, into a triple DR polymorph as well. Oh, baby.
Something to actually note about this game that's a little bit different from the previous games is Rosty's actually playing combat now instead of that subtlety spec, so they're going to have to watch out for that red buff. Killing spree, a little bit more consistent damage going to be coming out from Rosty's. I don't think the burst is going to be quite as powerful, but overall going to be dealing more damage. Wealthy Man actually getting the Iron Bark there from Cubsy. Beautiful job by Walter Bear cloning out that Iron Bark right away, so not going to be able to get full use out of that. Rosty's taking a lot of damage as well. Haunt landing in from Dota. Rosty's using that adrenaline rush, though, right away, trying to connect onto some target. Dota doing an excellent job, though, cutting him at the moment. Just running back, actually gating away. And Rosty's adrenaline rush has been almost completely wasted. Dota just spam fearing him right now. Rosty's getting completely screwed over there on his cooldown. Cubsy getting chunked down, too, as well from Walter Bear, who has popped that Incarnation as well as Berserk. Rosty's finally connecting onto Dota, who has that Demon Soul popped up. A lot of damage can be coming out from him, but Cubsy deciding to use that Heart of the Wild to increase some of the healing coming out from him to top off his team, as his entire team is dipping dangerously low. Still 2 blocks available if he needs it. Cubsy does have that Iron Bar coming back up very, very soon, as well as his PvP trinket if he needs it.
Yeah, Heart of Wild, man, a 6-minute cooldown. You got to use that at the right times, but it's so long. Bash goes out onto Cubsy. He's going to go ahead and Iron Bark as soon as that ends. But Dota's in some trouble. Cheap shot out of the kidney shot with the Absurge inside that polymorph. Now the Garrote goes out into Dota. He's going to finally get an opportunity to use that Hellstone and regen. Absurge also trinket linking as well. Whole bunch of defensive cooldowns using on team of Splyce. But Cubsy's not going to be able to heal through all of the spread pressure moving forward here into the game over and over and over again. Rosty's taking a bit of pressure as well, but he has that red buff available to him. This is when he's super scared, man.
Cubsy actually sitting down for a drink right now. Dota, Walter Bear, and Aster's not able to stop that. Cubsy drinking around 40% of his mana up. That's very, very crucial. He was down to around 30% mana, still 3 minutes, still dampening, so that's not a position you want to be in. Absurge actually caught into a full blind at the moment. He has no trinket available. Isabella getting caught into that kidney shot, or Dota, I should say, deciding to trinket that right away, trying to turn around the pressure, but Absurge getting polymorphed out of that full blind. Rosty's taking a little bit of damage at the moment. Looks like Dota's going to be completely fine. The DR polymorph going out onto Absurge, but Rosty's able to reconnect. Wealthy Man doing a lot of damage as well. Absurge still not out of CC. He does have that Spirit Link totem available if he needs it. Cubsy able to actually get that offensive clone onto Dota, so Absurge not able to get too much healing out onto him, but it looks like he should be okay for the moment. Absurge, though, could be put into some more CC. The Frostjaw coming in off him. I think he's actually off that polymorph DR, so gets caught into a full polymorph. Could be dangerous, but Dota landing that triple Shadow Fury. Rosty's dipping dangerously low, getting the Iron Bark as well as that Cloak of Shadows. Cubsy getting caught into that Hex very, very shortly. Wealthy Man able to dispel him out of that right away. Isabella now caught into that full kidney shot. Absurge caught into the full polymorph. He doesn't have trinket available. Dota needs to run away. He needs to kite. Doing an excellent job of that so far. The Frostjaw going out on the Absurge immediately stone form. He does have the Spirit Link totem available. Going to have to use that right away. Walter Bear not able to get into it, so not able to use full use of that totem, but it is going to do its job, and Dota's going to survive for now.
You know, I definitely can tell. Whoa, Rosty's taking a whole bunch of pressure. That smoke bomb coming out. Red buff as well onto Walter Bear. Whole bunch of damage onto him throughout the smoke bomb. He's going to get out of the stun eventually and use that wall. Wealthy Man also getting interrupted by Dota. Walter Bear getting cloned up at relatively low health. Maybe a bit vulnerable for the next setup if Absurge gets caught into any more CC. But I mean, this combat rogue, I feel like the pressure is definitely there, a lot more consistent pressure, but the control has suffered a little bit. But they're getting so many defensive cooldowns out of these guys. Berserk actually coming off a cooldown right now. Walter Bear could get very serious. Onto Cubsy, dipping lower and lower, 40% health here. Haunt's connecting as well. I believe he actually get interrupted there. I think he actually faked it. The Nature Swiftness coming out from Cubsy, Shadow Fury into Roasties and Cubsy, and he's not the kill target for now as Splyce pulls back and continues their spread pressure. But here's the Berserk incarnation coming out for Walter Bear. What's he going to use with that Cyclone actually going out onto Roasties? He's going to jump right onto Wealthy Sock and get that pressure rolling. Cyclone going out back over onto Roasties. I think Cubsy could be vulnerable to a swap here pretty shortly, but without that incarnation, it might be an uphill battle. But Absturge still not caught in any CC just yet. He has that Trinket Link available to him now, ready for the next setup.
Yeah, he is actually caught into that full polymorph, but like you said, he does have Trinket and Link available if he needs it. Walter Bear getting kitty shot. Dota actually using his Demon Soul, getting cloned on it. Gets cloned on his Trinket as well by Cubsy. The red buff killing spree coming in. Walter Bear able to get off that survival instincts. I think he will survive for now. Doesn't have any more charges of that though. Down to around 30% HP. Absurd just deciding to use that Trinket Link. Doesn't want to mess around at all. Cubsy's mana suffering a lot though, down to 25%, dampening just starting in. So Absurd definitely has that mana advantage at the moment. The spread pressure from Splyce sort of tapping Cubsy's mana a lot sooner. But the Haunt comes crashing in onto Cubsy. He's trying to get away, but Walter Bear on his back at the moment. He is having a hard time popping himself off, but Walter Bear actually gets caught into that full clone. Cubsy should be able to stabilize. Adrenaline Rush coming out from Roasties. The kitty shot onto Isabella, or Dota. Absurge actually caught into a Deep Freeze, into a Frost Jaw. Able to stone form that, but now into the full blind. Dota's in a lot of trouble, down to 42% HP. He does have that regen up at the moment, as well as that Earth Shield working for him. Absurge caught into the DR clone. Dota doing a great job at the moment, as well as Walter Bear doing everything they can to keep Dota alive for as long as possible. Absurge finally out of that CC, able to get some heals out of that as the full bash on the Cubsy. Now Roasties dipping a little bit low, spamming out that feint to stop some of that incoming damage, but the full kidney shot back onto Dota right away. Absurge caught into the Deep Freeze Polymorph once again. No trinket available. Dota doesn't have heals this time. Still has that Earth Shield as well as Riptide working for him, but he needs to get away. He needs to kite. Walter Bear needs to get out the Cyclones. The full Cyclone going out onto Roasties. Dota is going to survive for the time being, but Cubsy's mana still not doing very great at all.
Yeah, Dota getting cloned up at low health here. And getting cloned up once again. Absurge now put into that DR Polymorph. This could be it for Dota. Dota actually trying to lock out Wealthy Sock on Frost just to stop some of that damage. But is it going to matter? Kidney shot onto Dota. Cyclone onto Absurge. Is this going to be it? Cheap shot onto Dota out of that. Absurge not leaving the CC. Groat now onto Dota. He's just a sitting duck. Can Walter Bear peel for him? Looks like not today. Cloud9 taking game number 2 and tying up the series 1-1 in the finals.
Yep.
Yep. That was good. You know, Walter Bear actually did a really good job throughout that game, cloning up Roasties when it mattered most. I saw a few clones actually made Roasties' red buff fall off of him, which is never something that you want to see as a rogue. Oh man, that hard-earned red buff just leaving you.
Maybe combat is what that was a missing ingredient for Cloud9.
Yeah, I mean they're doing so good with it now.
Pressure. Yeah.
All right,
I think just that consistent pressure is just so much. I mean, it's so much better than just being able to go pretty much once every minute. It seemed like Splyce had figured out that strategy, and they were dealing with it very, very nicely. But combat sort of threw them a curveball.
Yep. Absolutely, they did. This is the finals, everybody. It's Splyce versus Cloud9. Absurge, Walter Bear, and Jellybeans in Dota going up against Goreki, Cubsy, Roasties, and Wealthy Man. Here we go. Game number 3. It's going to be played out on Dalaran Sewers. Welcome everyone to Dalaran Sewers. Roasty's sticking with combat. It proved well last game, and he's sticking with it. Splyce still sticking with their same composition. Walter Bear on that Feral Druid, Dota on the Affliction Warlock, Absurge and the Restoration Shaman. Cloud9. Roasty's playing a combat rogue, Wealthy Sock, Frost Mage, and Cubsy, a Restoration Druid.
One thing I will say about last game though is I feel like that strategy of training down Dota is a lot more effective on a map like
Yeah.
Ruins of Lordaeron, as opposed to something like Dalaran. So I think it's going to be a lot easier for Dota to actually survive, but we'll have to see. I guess going forward, Rossi's pushing in immediately with that shot of concealment. Actually gets the sap on the Upsurge immediately, kidney shotting Dota, trying to get some damage out onto him. Walter Bear pushing in, gets the bash onto Rossi, trying to get out that clone. He gets stopped on it, actually gets gouged. Cubsy trying to get up some offensive cyclones, clones up Walter Bear. Walter Bear doesn't want to trinket that, doesn't want to get caught in a situation where he doesn't have trinket for the red buff killing spree. Upsurge now and do a clone as well. So Cubsy doing work, getting out that initial CC, but Dota actually not taking too much damage. Popping out that Demon Soul now, and they want to turn around the pressure. Incarnation as well as Berserk coming out from Walter Bear. Rossi's dipping a little bit low. He does have that Iron Mark, so I don't think he's going to be in too much trouble. Cubsy actually responding as well with that Heart of the Wild to really empower his HOTS. The full blind going out onto Walter Bear. He's just going to get blind sapped on his cooldowns. Pretty standard at this point. Actually, Rossi's not able to get the sap. Gets hexed up there, so well done by him. Walter Bear able to get a little bit more damage out with that Incarnation before it fades. Absurge caught into the deep sheet, but Rossi's, Cubsy, and Wealthy Man caught on the defensive at the moment. Dota's going to be completely fine. Just pushing back to his pillar. Actually gating away at the moment while Absurge is still CC'd. Dota trying to get out those fears onto Cubsy, gets the UA, actually gets cloned up there by Cubsy, so Dota not able to get out too much pressure at the moment. Heart of the Wild still going to be up for Cubsy for a little bit longer, but once that fades, it's going to be a little harder for him to heal through the spread pressure of Walter Bear and Dota.
I like that Heart of the Wild usage on the first Incarnation. I think that's a really smart thing, but here we go. Smoke Bomb, Kidney Shot onto Dota, Orb as well. Red Buff Killing Spree onto Dota. Absurge can't get there. He's in a deep freeze. He's got to get the Spirit Link off. He's going to use Hellstone and Regen, and it looks like he got away without using that Spirit Link. That was a whole bunch of offensive pressure coming out from Cloud9, and it was negated by just a Trinket port healing and Regen with a Hellstone. That's definitely a good trade for sure, but now they're switching that pressure over onto Walter Bear with the Kidney Shot. He's going to get cycloned by Cubsy relatively low at this point. Cubsy in the far back, he's positioned quite well, but I mean, the spread pressure from Splyce is consistently building up momentum, and Abster's doing a great job with his coordination with his team, has yet to use his Trinket and Spirit Links. They're both available.
Yep, still has that Stone Form as well for the Frost Shot if he ever needs to. Cubsy actually sitting in stealth right now, getting a drink, just deciding to drink to full before dampening hits. Doesn't want to be caught in a situation like we were talking about earlier where he doesn't have mana going into dampening, because it becomes very hard and very mana intensive for a druid to heal through the threat pressure. Has to use a lot of Genesises. But Cubsy actually getting open onto with that bash from Walter Bear. Gets the Barskin and actually just puts him into the clone. Rossi's though pushing onto Walter Bear. He does have his trinket as well as both Survival Instincts. He is going to use his trinket and Survival Instinct stacks. Gets locked out on his clone by Rossi's. But Cubsy was they were able to bait out Cubsy's Barskin there. He's still a little bit low. The Iron Mark going out onto Rossi, so they can get something going on to Cubsy with Walter Bear's Incarnation and Berserk. I mean, unfortunately for him, Rossi's will have that blind up, so if Walter Bear decides that he wants to go aggressive on a Cubsy, Rossi's can always just peel it with the blind. Rossi's actually gets a sap there. Switches the sap onto Absters, a full kidney shot onto Walter Bear. This might be the second charge of Survival Instincts, but Dota doing an excellent job with that triple Shadow Fury, pardon me, as well as some fears coming out from him, so Dota kind of saving the day with those peels. Unfortunately, Absters still caught into the sheep, but really Walter Bear in no danger at the moment.
Yeah, not at the moment, man. It looks like they're Cloud9's consistently pushing in over and over again, but Dota and Walter are doing a good job getting that damage out. Yellow buff accumulated for Rossi's at this point, but Incarnation being used by Walter Bear is going to get kidney shotted, and Abster's is going to go ahead and drop that Spirit Link down to negate a lot of the damage there. Now Walter Bear getting cycloned up on that Incarnation, negating all of this damage at this point. Kidney shot into Cyclone. Rossi's red buff is still up, so he's still doing a consistent amount of damage. He's going to go ahead and evasion to prevent kiting from being done at this point. Walter Bear gets out of the CC finally, hops right over onto Cubsy and chunks him down to 50% health here, but he's got to be careful. Abster's just put into that full blind over there, which means Walter Bear can continue to I suppose Incarnation is now done, but that blind could have been used to stop him, but they did a great job stopping him regardless with that kidney shot in the Cyclone, and they did get the Bark Skin out from that Incarnation, but that's not a very big cooldown for such ferocious offensive cooldown.
Yeah, not really at all. Cubsy actually once again sitting down for a drink, trying to top off his mana. if he needs to. If we look at the defensive cooldowns, Abster still has his trinket as well as a Spear Link available. Ascendant's coming up if he needs it. Walter Bear having his trinket. Doesn't have Survival Instincts just yet. Dota has his trinkets. Splyce sitting very, very pretty. Cubsy, though, as well. I mean, both teams have almost all the defensive cooldowns. Dampening just starting now. Dota getting kidney shot in the middle of the map, actually using his trinket and porting away. Absurge caught into that sap, now into a full deep freeze, into a DR polymorph. Dota taking a little bit of damage, uses his dark regen. Trying to just tank this damage at the moment. Turn around the pressure. The bash going out on the Cubsy, who dips really, really low, down to 40% HP, having to use that Iron Bark on himself. Gets hexed up. The Haunt comes crashing in. Wealthy Man also taking a lot of damage at the moment. This isn't even the Incarnation Berserk coming up from Walter Bear and able to get out so much pressure. The full clone onto Cubsy. Wealthy Man might be forced into his first block at the moment, and if they can switch it back onto Cubsy, it could be dangerous for him. He still does have his Trinket and Bark Skin available if he needs it. But Splyce doing an excellent job getting out that damage. Dota just spamming out those haunts and those dots onto everyone at the moment. Cubsy is going to have that Heart of Wild in 1 minute if he needs it, but that's still quite a long time away. But Dota getting really, really low. Absurge actually trinketing out of that deep freeze, I believe, and throwing down the Spirit Link just right away. Doesn't want to mess around. Wants to keep up their pressure and their momentum. I really like that decision. Wealthy Man, Cubsy, and Roasty all down to around 50% HP at the moment. And I think one thing Dota did this game is he actually switched out from Unbound Will and went to that Blood Horse spec, so it's going to be harder for Roasty to actually kill him down. So I like the spec change as well coming out from Dota.
Yeah, that spec change is next level, man, because he knew he was going to be the kill target. But the blind on Absurge, the clone on Walter Bear. Dota's all alone at the moment. He's using that spell lock to try to prevent some of this damage, and Wealthy Sock's just going to go to that Frost Firebolt there for just a brief moment. He's porting away, but doesn't matter. He goes down, and Cloud9 finding the opener and going to nail that nail into the coffin. Absurge without any trinket or link. The desperation port coming out from Dota just wasn't enough to continue to stay alive, but they did bring it to 11% dampening, and that overall pressure coming out from this FLS was starting to get relatively scary for them to heal through, but Cloud9 just stuck to the strat, rotated those CCs over onto Absurge, and just ended Dota. There it goes. Cloud9 taking another win off of Splyce in this best of 5 series. It is now 1-2. Cloud9 ahead 2. They only have one more win away. Cloud9 only has to win one more time, and they are the tournament number 2 champions. Can Splyce bring it back 2 games in a row? Well, now
I don't know. It seems pretty convincing with this change in spec into combat. They just have the pressure that they need to go on to Dota and sort of shut down his damage, shut down his CC, because it's really been Dota setting up a lot of these kills. You know, gets the fears on the Cubsy, he's able to spam out those haunts and drain soul, and if you can shut that down and pressure Dota to a point where he's not that confident pushing in, it seems like it's working out quite nicely for them.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting those Spirit Links. They got both of them. They get Trinket Link over and over and over again, and they're getting ahead. The consistent pressure of combat looks to be, and also the change of the kill target. But what is it you think about Dota being the kill target that gives them so much momentum? Is it the survivability of Walter Bear, or is it the lack of control that Dota has when he's the kill target?
Well, I think when Dota is caught into a kidney shot, he's not able to get out Shadow Fears and Fears, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
So,
and he was doing such a good job of that before too.
Well, I think if they're consistently going on Dota as well, if he doesn't have his trinket, you know, he no longer has Unbound Will. Although the Blood Whore is nice for surviving, all of a sudden he doesn't have a second trinket to sort of go offensive when he needs to and get out of that crack control. So, I think it makes it much harder for them to actually land a kill.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to find out here what's going to happen next. Splyce on the ropes all of a sudden. Can they bring it back? This is a best of 5 series, everybody. Just to show you guys that bracket real quick. It's Splyce versus Cloud9. Splyce currently 2 wins. Splyce currently 1 win, and Cloud9 currently 2 wins in this best of 5 series. And Splyce actually knocked down Cloud9 to that lower bracket, forcing Cloud9 to face an additional series in the lower bracket. I liked his status to get back to the finals here. And here we go. It's Tolvaron Arena is the next map. Alright, everybody, welcome to Tolvaron Arena. It's Cloud9 versus Splyce. Cloud9 swapping over to that combat rogue on Roasty. Seems like that's exactly the answer they needed to take on this FLS. But can Splyce adapt accordingly to this consistent pressure of the combat rogue?
I'm kind of curious as to why Splyce didn't choose something like Blade's Edge. Like, it feels like them going from Dalaran to something like this is just like, if they feel like they, I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know either.
Not able to really take advantage of that Z access port. Maybe it feels like with the Demon Soul port, he can kite around this big pillar quite nicely and try to avoid some damage if he needs to, but I'm not sure.
All right, this is Tolvaron Arena, though. Let's see what happens. This is Splyce map choice. Kidney shot going out onto Dota. Abster's not caught into any CC as set. He's line of sighting. He doesn't want to have to deal with that. Grounding Totem gets eaten apart, and Deep Freeze Frostjaw lands on Abster. Good lockout on that polymorph. The Frostjaw's not as long, but now the full polymorph lands outside of that. Cubsy put into that bash. The double Shadow Fury coming out from Dota. Dota doing a good job peeling this double DPS off of him at this point, but Abster's still not catching a break with all this CC. Wealthy Sock is the one who's taking a bunch of pressure. Haunt's connecting onto him, and he's going to get cloned at low health here.
Oh, man. That was a beautiful clone, though. Cubsy actually used his NS into that, so completely wasting his Nature Swiftness cooldown. Does have that Heart of the Wild up, though, so his Hots are going to be powerful enough to top off Wealthy Man at the moment. Roasty's caught into that clone. Dota's still very, very low, though. Spirit Link actually coming out from Absterge gets full polymorphed immediately after that Spirit Link, so Dota's still in a little bit of trouble trying to get out those Haunts. Gets out the Drain Soul. Cubsy taking some pressure as well as Roasty's at the moment. Cubsy does have that Heart of the Wild, like we were saying, though. And increased healing. Abster's still not out of CC. Actually gets full clone. Dota's in a lot of trouble at the moment. The Incarnation coming out from Walter Bear, who wants to turn around the pressure, but Dota just can't get out the damage he needs. Just caught in such a defensive position at the moment. Cubsy getting swapped here using that bar skin right away. Abster's finally out of CC, able to top off Dota, but as soon as Dota isn't under fire from being dead, he just caught into a clone and he just can't get out the dots that he needs to. Despite that, still doing an excellent job. Roasty's caught into a full bash at the moment. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to capitalize on too much damage there. The full kidney shot, though, this is the setup that Cloud9 wants. Goes out onto Dota. Abster's caught into that Deep Sheep once again. Dota, pardon me, puts up that Blood Horror. Actually gets locked out on that UA, deciding to gate away. Just trying to get away as far as possible. Cubsy actually getting a clone onto Abster as well. Walter Bear caught into that gouge. So the CC coming out from Cloud9 on point. Dota still just having to play so defensive. If you look, Cloud9 doesn't have any dots on them at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Dota's just locked down nonstop. Demon Soul instantly getting cloned up by Cubsy. His team's doing a great job just locking down Dota nonstop, and that's a big deal. The silence going out on the Cubsy on the follow-up clone. Maim onto Roasty's. Haunts connecting onto him. He has that. Oh, he's gonna use that Shadow, Cloak of Shadows, just in the nick of time. But here we go. The bomb goes out onto Dota. Deep Freeze onto Absterge. Dota taking a bit of pressure. Walter Bear getting stunned up as well by Roasty's into a clone. Is not going to be able to peel for his Warlock right now. It's a 3v1 situation, and Dota is just sprinting away. He doesn't want any of this adrenaline rushed rogue. There's the bash going out on the Cubsy. If there's anything to follow it out, looks like they're just trying to get the pressure out on it. Walter Bear looking for that clone. The Cyclone actually getting juked by Cubsy. Dota not going to be able to lock that out just yet, and he's getting cycloned up at low health. This is a scary moment for him.
Absolutely, that was Absterge's Aura Master as well, so he wasn't able to capitalize on that because of the offensive Cyclone coming out from Cubsy. Dota does have his Trinket coming up in 5 seconds if he needs it. Absterge having Trinket Link available as well, but this is what I was talking about, these Demon Soul ports. He's able to just sprint around this big pillar, and it's hard for Roasties to actually reconnect onto him, but despite that, Roasties back on his back. Absterge getting caught into a Frost Shot, into a Cyclone. Isabella now caught into that full kidney shot. Cubsy getting cloned out from Walter Bear. Walter Bear trying to make something happen for his team, but Dota has just been forced into such a defensive position all game long.
Yep, as we say that, another Cyclone goes out onto Dota as soon as the pressure fades. Absterge still sticking with that Trinket Link available to him. He's trying to hold on to it. Ice Nova's coming out from Wealthy Sock. Big damage into Dota. Bash going out onto Cubsy. Nothing to follow it up just yet. And the pressure's just not there because Dota is just locked down. The interrupt going out from Dota, trying to prevent some more CC onto his Restoration Shaman. There's the half kidney shot onto him. The blind and Frostjaw overlap on the Absterge is going to force that Trinket Spirit Link, and that's the last, or that's his Trinket, but he still has one more Spirit Link available to him. Walter Bear getting offensive with his Incarnation Berserk, stunning up Cubsy in bear form. Haunts connecting to him as well. And now Walter Bear getting cheap shotted up, getting peeled a little bit from Roasties, but Roasties right back on Dota's tail.
Yeah, Dota actually porting away at the moment, using that sprint still. Once again, it's kind of funny to watch him ring around the rosy around this pillar. Absterge caught into the full clone. He does have his stone form available if he gets caught into a frost jaw. There it is. He needs to stone form that. Might need to throw down that spirit link setting to save it at the moment. Dota hovering around 50% HP. Absurge using that wind walk totem. Actually get to deep freezed up on his ascendants as well. Dota running away. Absurge caught into that full polymorph on his big cooldown. And Dota gates back on the ice novel, which actually breaks the sheep. So Absurge out of that CC. Well done by Dota. That was very, very well timed, but Absurge still caught into that clone. Now Dota, despite getting away and making some plays, caught into a full kidney shot. A lot of damage coming out from Roasties. Actually gets maimed up on his red buff killing spree into a clone, so Walter Bear saving the day. The bash throw going out onto Absurge. The CC just never ends coming out from Cloud9. The triple Shadow Fear coming out from Dota. Well done by him, but that's a full polymorph once again onto Absurge. Dota still needs to find a way to live. Ports away with that Demon Soul, uses the Soul Burn port. I'm going to try to kite the best he can, but he's caught in a full kidney shot, decides to trinket that. Still just sprinting away, down to 30% HP. Cloud9 smells blood in the water. The DR clone onto Absurge. This could just be the game. Dota down to 15% HP, needs to find a way to survive, but the deep freeze going out onto Absurge is going to secure the game. Wealthy Man actually blocking offensively out of that CC, and Cloud9 able to take this series 3-1.
There it is. Cloud9 getting knocked to the lower bracket in the craziest, closest series ever versus Splyce is going to come back through that lower bracket and face them head on, switching to combat and taking the series 3-1. And Cloud9 is your tournament champions. Congratulations, Cloud9, for the epic performance, but shout out goes to Splyce for locking in second place and getting those 70 GCD points moving forward into more and more GCD tournaments. Congratulations, guys. Some amazing gameplay coming out from every player competing in today and yesterday's tournament. So shout out to everyone. Thank you guys so much for coming in and competing. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope to see you guys at the next tournament. Shout outs also go to my